Okay, welcome everybody to our October customer webinar. Thanks for coming. It's always great to see so many familiar faces and a bunch of new ones too. Appreciate you guys taking the time out. This is definitely a highlight for us, going into some of the cool things we've been working on and hearing from you guys, new ideas and things like that. So appreciate you taking some time out of your day to be here. Got actually the whole team on the regular suspects on the call today to make sure we can answer all your questions and make sure we're capturing all your feedback and everything too. So what I wanted to cover today was just go over our release notes for the past couple of months, just to review some of the features that we've launched and then demo a few new ones as well. So wanted to, share some of the highlights. We've got a lot of different release notes that new capabilities and updates that have happened, and I know this is pretty small, but what I wanted to do is just pick off a few of these and highlight them for you, and just in case there were some new things in here that you didn't know about, or if there are items that you had questions on as well. So let's jump in and show a couple of these things. One of them is we've added a bunch of new review monitoring sites, and we've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to increase our accuracy on these as well. So our goal is to have the regular, the big headers, of course, like Google and Facebook and YP.com and stuff, but also to have industry-specific sites that we can monitor for you and make it easy to keep track of what's going on. And so we've added a whole bunch of these, so like House and Glassdoor and a bunch of others, Zomato. So depending on the industries that your business has or that your customers have, this just gives you more options in terms of review sites to monitor. I just want to do a super quick little demo. I just switched over to my browser and I wanted to show you how you can monitor sites that you aren't even necessarily asking for reviews on. So for example, if I wanted to monitor a website, maybe I'm asking for reviews on just a couple of focused websites right now, but I wanted to also monitor reviews on other websites like House, for example. You'll see, can you guys see my screen okay? By the way, I just switched over from the presentation to the
Yes,
product.
we can see it fine.
Thanks, Mike. I upgraded to the Mac OS High Sierra a week ago, and it caused so many problems for me with my graphics. They redid the graphics engine behind some things to improve it, and it messed with a whole bunch of apps. So I can't assume anything right now. That's why I keep checking. Okay, so all I wanted to show here is that you can monitor sites. You don't necessarily have to ask for reviews on those, because what we find is people are changing around. Like sometimes they'll say, well, I just want to focus on getting reviews on Google for a while, or doing direct first-party feedback. And so, you can change those around, and it's not hard. So that's a big deal. Hopefully that's helpful to some of you, to some of these sites that are coming up. We've really been on a roll here and added a lot of good stuff. Another thing, we talked about this before, but I just wanted to update you.
Could I just add two things there? There is a page in the user guide that shows all the currently actively monitored sites that we update regularly. And if there is a site you would like monitored that we currently don't have on that list, let us know. We'll take a look at it. No guarantees, but we would like to know what you think are important sites to monitor. Sorry, Don, go ahead.
I'm glad you did that, because my PowerPoint crashed right as you said that, so that was nice timing. All right, so
unlike me to have nice timing.
So the other thing I wanted to mention is the new JavaScript widget. We've talked about it before. I just wanted to reinforce it because I noticed there are still some accounts that aren't using this, and you definitely want to use it. This is the Testimonials widget that shows first-party reviews on your site, and the new update is much faster. We did a nice beta period, got a lot of great feedback, and it works on any platform now. So this is working on Squarespace or Wix or Weebly or ASP.NET sites. You name it. It should work on any website out there, and not only our widget worked before, but on some platforms it wasn't able to inject the rich snippet markup around, and now it will do that on any of these platforms. So anyway, if you're not using the new testimonials widget, go into your settings and grab it. It's really pretty easy to do. All you need to do is go into excuse me, into the testimonials widget settings and grab that code. So, definitely check that out. Grab the code and put it on your website. It's literally, a copy and paste of a JavaScript widget onto your website. All right.
I think it'd be good to mention too, Don, just as a teaser, we don't have a set date, but we do have a couple other improvements heading the way of the testimonial widget. One will be some width control with it, so you can control the width on the page that it is. A lot of people have asked for that. And then we'll have just kind of a few other small upgrades with it. So just know, hopefully in the next month or so, that we'll have some additional features being built into the testimonial widget that will make it even more valuable for you.
Yeah, good point. This is an area of focus for us because, we're looking at this as, hey, you're collecting all this great first-party feedback, you're getting online reviews. How can we help you to magnify that and give you lots of ways to use that information? Getting it on your website, updating the website. So, that's the beauty of this widget, is that you're adding user-generated content to your website on a regular, consistent basis, right? That Google crawls and understands. So, to Aaron's point, we're trying to not only do the underpinnings around performance and the technical markup, but also give you lots of nice visual display options for that data. Another new feature, this was asked, Jack Boback on Twitter, he asked for this feature, and we thought, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. It's easy for us to add. So we've added a new filter in the customer dashboard, so you can quickly see all requests open but that don't have any feedback. And I thought, let me just show you. A lot of people I talk to aren't using these filters, and they're actually super powerful if you're looking in your customer dashboard and you want to be able to just show, hey, who are my promoters, or show me requests that were sent but we didn't get any feedback. This one is like, hey, these are requests that were opened but they didn't leave any feedback, and I can just check that box and it's just going to give me a nice view of only those items. And so it's a really nice way to go through and get different views of your product. So I can say, whatever I'm after here, I can slice and dice. I can even use testimonial tags on this as well, so it's pretty powerful. All right. Integration-wise, we added a new integration page to our website. Those of you that have been with us for a while, we're committed to lots of, we have great integrations. We've added a number of new services that we integrate with, and our Zapier integration, which I feel like I talk about that a lot, but I'm just excited about it because we have, there are over 750 apps in Zapier directory, and we integrate with all of those. We've also added a whole bunch of Zap templates, and what's even cooler is now we're out of beta. So we're out of beta with Zapier. They kind of keep you in beta for a while until they see activity and traction, and then they promote you out. And so that's what they've done with us. So it's really exciting. We worked hard for this, and I love some of the integrations that are coming in. People are integrating it with MailChimp and with QuickBooks Online and with FreshBooks and with HubScout and things like that. So pretty cool integrations. So we have a new page on our website just about integrations as well.
And just a note on that for agencies that are listening, MailChimp is free up to 2,000 email addresses. So, and Zapier now goes from GetFiveStars into MailChimp. So you could very easily value add GetFiveStars by, putting names into GetFiveStars and then automating their import into MailChimp. And I believe, Don, correct me if I'm wrong, but we can segment them to some extent based on MPS and MailChimp as well.
Yeah, so you could say, you could create a list in MailChimp and then say, I want to put all my promoters on that list, put all my detractors on a different list. So, yeah.
So with a little bit of integration work, you could create a real value add around GetFiveStars for your clients that will become very valuable to them. Targeted email marketing.
Yep, exactly. We also did a bunch of performance enhancements. We had some customers that were heavily using labels with lots of locations, and that was slowing the business dashboard down. We went behind and refactored that code to make it much faster.
I think this is a
So
picture of Aaron Weike over the last month, isn't it?
yes, he's definitely he's in the driver's seat. Been doing a lot of damage in the last month, and I mean that in a good way. So yeah, so I wanted to drop in and show a demo of a couple things. So one of the things that we've been working really hard on, gosh, I'm sorry about this, my computer just went crazy, is these new feedback modes. So as you guys know, we've been doing a lot of testing, or I should say, as you know, if you've talked to us about this, a lot of you I see are new or maybe haven't looked at this, but there are a lot of ways you can use our product to emphasize different types of feedback, what we're calling first-party feedback, which is when you collect feedback directly from your customer. We're calling it actually first-party reviews. Those can be turned into first-party feedback that shows up on your website. We also help you collect, survey information if you want, and like lightweight surveys. And then we also help you collect online reviews. And so what we're finding, what we looked at is said, what are the ways that we have tweaked and optimized our product, specifically Mike Blumenthal, who does a lot of this research and tweaking, and he works with a lot of you. You've probably worked with Mike, many of you. And so we basically decided to codify these tweaks and performance enhancements into specific flows in the product. We're calling feedback request modes. So now you can choose the mode based on what you're focusing on. And I'll just show you kind of what the three modes do. And the other point I want to make about this is you can kind of see on the left-hand side here, it's just simply clicking a radio button and boom, I can choose the mode. I can customize it if I want to. As you'll see in a minute, we've completely remade the email templates, redesigned them to be much nicer, to reflect your brand and your colors. We've modified the text as well, the default text, which you can of course change, and the editors. So let's just
Don, we should probably point out a few things. One, the last screen Don was just showing you is not in the product right now. We're just starting into a beta. So we'll give you information on if you want to join the beta, and we can turn this on a per location basis. What this really is coming from is our current editor is kind of a free-form editor, but we've long been using it and having kind of three different setups with it. But it's not been clear to you guys as customers and users that you're able to use it differently, that there's a lot of manipulation and customizations that you can do with that editor. So what we wanted to do is make this a lot simpler, and then we've also learned a few different things over time that would make that would increase the amount of response to the feedback requests going out. So that's what kind of turned into these kind of one-click modes where you can select a mode, and then inside of each mode you have a series of templates that you can then edit.
And the high-level benefit to you as customers and agencies is that you can start out in ultimate mode, understand the quality of your business, get a lot of feedback that can be put out to your site, and then once you know whether your customer is a 90 or a 60, you can make a decision on whether you want more reviews or whether you want more feedback or whether you want just to let the customer decide. So we allow you, from my point of view, it's never set it and forget it. It's like trying to use our product to benefit the business where they are. So if you're an agency, you're just getting started, you start them in ultimate mode, you find out the quality, you get their NPS score, you get a lot of good content for the website. You probably won't get as many reviews as you'd get in review in direct mode, but you'll still get your fair share. And then as you understand that business over time, you can tweak it. Now let's say you go into review mode, you don't get enough feedback for the site, you can tweak them back with one click after it's set up. So it's set up for both, single location businesses, as well as agencies running this on behalf of them, so that you can tweak it to optimize outcomes for the business based on where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that was the whole point of this change, was to make it easy for people to switch and try these new modes and test them, and we're keeping track of what mode you're using, so that will help you understand the best way to reach customers based on what your objective is. And so just a quick review of like what's in these modes. So you look at on the left, ultimate mode. The focus of this mode is just the complete customer experience data in a three-step process. So it's asking for the Net Promoter Score, it's survey questions if you want them, plus feedback, the free-form feedback, which can turn into what we call first-party reviews, and the online review request. So the pro of this mode is, full customer data, right? You're generating first-party reviews, you're generating some third-party reviews, you're understanding how happy your customers are. The challenge is that there is more effort for the customer to complete. So what I want to point out is very much like our current default mode, except we've made some optimizations to the process, which I'll show you in a minute, which make it even more effective than the current mode. So the second mode is review mode, and that's in the middle here. And that allows you to capture Net Promoter Score and request an online review in more of a two-step process. So it's much lighter weight. It says, hey, grab the Net Promoter Score and then make an online review request. So it allows you to still get the NPS metric, which is valuable to understand what is my word of mouth index, like what is my level of health with my customer relationships, and
it
also
continues to threshold the customer too. So if there's unhappy customers, they're led into a different process than
yeah. Right, so you have the chance, if someone rates you very low, you have that segmentation, so you can say, wow, what happened? And you can find out what happened, and then for your happy customers, make it easy for them to leave you an online review. The challenge with this mode is just that it will lower your first-party review volume, and many of you, so many of you have been using this to great effect, where you're capturing these testimonials, which we're now calling first-party reviews. Basically using that data, sharing it on your website and on social media, and getting the benefit in the search results from it. It's a very powerful method, and it shows up as Mike has shown in the past. It can show up as a review source for you in Google. So anyway, there is changing the mix is what we're allowing you to do. And then the third mode here on the right is direct mode, and this is just focused on generating online reviews by putting that review request right in the email, the first thing they get. So in the email, and I'm going to show you these in just a moment. Online review request is right there in the email. There's still an option for private feedback in there. Just so you know, that's based on a bunch of research and testing that we did, and we found that in a lot of cases, people are more likely to leave you private feedback than they are an online review, especially if they have a problem. There's this, obviously there's this huge range of all the way on the one side, people were so happy they're going to rush over to Google and leave you a 5-star review. On the other side of the spectrum, at the other end of the spectrum, they're so angry that they can't wait to run out and leave you a review. And there's a lot of people in the middle that are, maybe they have something they want to tell you, but they're not going to go put it on Google or Facebook. They're not that mad, but they'd love to tell you about it. So that's why that option is still in here. So the pro of this mode is instant review requests, minimal customer effort, but then you're going to lose your Net Promoter Score data and your segmentation. So basically, you're confident enough with your customers that you're just going to ask them for an online review directly. I wanted to stop just for a minute because Rob had put a question in here, and he said, this looks really good. I have an issue where customers think that feedback Net Promoter Score is actually a review. It's very rare at the company I work with to get less than a 9 or a 10. So I was looking for a way to push them towards the review process off the bat instead of the NPS review flow. Yeah, well, Rob, that's what this mode is designed to do. So if you have a company that you're very confident that you're getting these 9s and 10s, hearing some keywords in the background, if you guys, whoever's could mute, that would be great. So it allows you to basically go direct and ask for the review. And Mike has experimented with this with certain customers, and it's been very, very valuable. So that might be something you want to check. The only thing I would caution there is that I do talk to a lot of businesses who say, "Oh man, our customers love us. We have no problems with with any of our customer stuff, and I still find that there are a lot of things that people would like to tell you for pretty much every business. They'd like to say that maybe they're not happy with something. So it's still good to try the other modes and experiment, because you just don't know for sure. And you want to capture that kind of feedback as well. Zane is saying, what are considered first-party reviews? So Zane, in the past we've been calling those testimonials, but we wanted to be more clear because where the industry is kind of going, and we wanted to be more clear on how we refer to it. So a third-party review is a review on Google or Facebook or TripAdvisor or Yelp or something like that, right? Because those are sites that are removed from your from your business website. They're out there in the wild. Those are called third-party review sites. First-party reviews are basically content that you're capturing in our system that is direct, right? It's saying, hey, we want to know your feedback, and we want to capture this as a testimonial. That's captured directly from your customer, right? And that is turned into a testimonial on your website. So I don't know if that helps, or I don't know, Aaron or Mike, do you want to take a shot at explaining that as well, in case I didn't make that clear?
Nope, I think that's pretty straightforward. First party is information that you as the business collect directly from the consumer. Third party is outside sites of your business, like Google, Facebook, Yelp, that they collect from your consumer.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so John is asking, do you have an example to show of direct mode? Absolutely. I'm going to show you all three modes right now. So what I wanted to do is to explain this and try and kind of give you our thinking of like why we're doing this change, what our objective is, what these modes do, and what they allow you to focus on. Then I want to show them to you because we're really excited that we've completed all the work here, and we're looking for beta testers. So if you think you wanted to help us try this out, we're going to be in testing for probably another week or so. We've already been doing a lot of testing, but we want to get this out what we have found with some of these, especially a more complex feature like this, is it's just good to show it to you guys and get your thoughts on it, obviously, before it goes out, because there are just so many different cases and scenarios that people put it through that we may not have thought of. So we've been testing with some beta testers already. We'd like to get you involved if you're interested. So let me show it to you. Let me show you what we're doing here. Before I jump in though, there are two other things as I show you these modes that I want you to look for. One is that we've refreshed the email and landing page design. So we've done some really cool professional design work in here. We've also allowed you to change the color of accent color and your logo and make it more even more branded toward your colors and logos and things like that. And then the other thing is the visual editors, which somehow my slide isn't in here, but I'll show it to you. We've totally redone the visual editors for the emails and landing pages to make them a lot easier and more reliable across different browsers. So that's another thing that you'll see when I jump in here and show you the demo. All right, so what I want to do now is go to request modes. Excuse me. And when I go into these feedback request modes, you'll see here they are on the left. So it's a new setting, right? So it's going to be a new setting on your settings menu called request modes. When I drop in here, I've got the ultimate mode, which is the default. If you're a new customer, this would be a new location. This would be the default and the recommended mode. And this is, again, that one that's the full experience. It's similar to our existing default experience with some changes that I want to show you. Then there's a review mode and direct mode. Now, what we've done is imagine that you've gone in and you've already created a bunch of customizations to the templates. Once you enable this feature, all that will be stored in legacy mode, and that will be your default mode until you decide to switch. But we just didn't want anyone to lose their changes, and it's not a one-to-one mapping from that previous mode over to the new modes. So we can't just automatically import all of your changes. What you're going to have to do is go in and make a couple of tweaks to the text, and I'll show you why in a minute. So let me jump over to my browser. Sorry, having a little problems here. Okay, yeah, what I wanted to show you is I've set myself in direct mode, Let's start with ultimate mode. So this is what the email would look like. Basically, this strip along the top is your logo color branding, which you can affect. Same thing with your logo. And this is the new design for the email. And you'll see that we've made some changes here. One of the things I want to point out is instead of in the default flow in the past, there was a button here that said give feedback, an orange button that you couldn't change the color on, right? What we've done through our testing is found out, let's just skip that entire step and ask the Net Promoter Score right away in the email. And then we can segment from there. So basically, I click on the 10. We've also made these much larger in terms of the click targets. So if you're on a mobile device, it's a lot easier. We use the standard sizes that are easy to touch. So on mobile, it looks really nice. And then it takes you into this page. And in this case, I've got some survey questions turned on, which is optional. But you can see now we're drilling into service. How was our service, and how was the wait time in the waiting room? How would you rate the customer service? So this is the way that you can zero in on specific things about the business. You can add up to 4 of these lightweight survey questions, and notice that you can change what 0 means and what 10 means here. So I can really drill in and say, how was the pizza in the waiting room, for example? All right, and then you're still capturing the text. All right, and then I send the feedback.
I can only say I would just hope that my freaking car mechanic would fix the car. I don't care about the pizza.
That's not how we do it at Aaron's Auto, Mike. We go the extra mile. So
I don't know. The pizza sounds kind of good to me.
Yeah, pizza is great as long as the car is fixed.
So this is the new landing page, again, with that brand color and the logo, the optional image that you can show, which we had before, but just a nicer, cleaner look. The ability to copy the review that was left and paste it in. Here's what it looks like for my review sites, right? Where I can say, oh, I wanted to lead with Google and Facebook, and this is that area where you can control which online review sites you want to route to. So you can see in that experience, I've gone through everything from the initial Net Promoter Score question, additional survey questions, the first party review, which was in the text box on the previous screen, and now potentially the online review link as well. So that is what direct mode looks like. And now, oh, darn it. Let me go back to this. Now I'm sorry, that was ultimate mode, right? So I'm just going to switch back to my slides real quick and switch to here. So we just looked at, on the left here, the ultimate mode path. 3 steps in that process, right? All right, so now let's go back and take a look at review mode. So review mode also leads off with the email with the Net Promoter Score. We're finding that this drops them directly into what they want to do. And by the way, this isn't an image. This is all laid out nicely with text so that if they have images turned off, they'll still see this scale. So I'm going to go in here and go into review mode. And here you're going to see, you can see the rule of demos in action. Oh, I apologize for this. It is in beta, but
it's because you're using them all out of the same account, and
yeah.
you'd have to switch the mode before you click into it.
Oh, right. Thank you. Okay, so let me put it into review mode here.
That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so now here I'm in review mode. Let me click through. And then what you're going to see,
you're back in you're in an ultimate one now.
Okay, hold on. I don't think so. I go to review mode, and let me just close these landing pages out. And then if I go to the click through in review mode, okay. Well, I'm not sure what I did there. Let me just try to do the direct mode one because I know people wanted to see that as well. So, all right, so now I'm in direct mode, and here's the direct mode email. Yeah, no, it's not working for me. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know how to show you these right now.
If you're in the Aaron's Auto account, there's like 3 Allstate ones that are each a different mode that you could just add yourself as a customer to those modes if you want to go to the
Okay.
business
Yeah,
dashboard.
that's a good idea. Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
guessing between how you set it up and monkeyed with it, it's just cross-pollinating a bunch of things
Yeah.
that normally wouldn't happen.
Right. What you can't switch modes after you've sent the email, Don. You
Okay.
have to stay in the mode. So you have to add yourself as a new customer in the mode, get the email, and move on.
All right. So then what I'm just going to do, let me just do this. So this will be the review mode, and I'll send that out right now. All right. One more try. I had already done this with I was trying to add myself again here, so that's what happened. So I should be getting that one in just a second. And then while I'm waiting for that, I'll just go to the business dashboard and also send a direct mode one so I can show you what direct mode looks like. So let me do, give me 1 second while I add myself. Everybody has my personal email address now. All right, so now let me just do, all right, so this one is the direct mode email. So switching back, I'm kind of jumping out of order here, but if you look at all the way on the right, this is direct mode. So this is one step in the process. You're going to see that this email has my logo and my branding, and then boom, it's just asking directly for the online review on Google or whatever sites that I chose to put there. And then it also has the ability to give private feedback. That you're seeing a little visual discrepancy here on the size of this button, where this is something that, like again, we're in the betas, so this is something that we're changing to make it consistent with the button above it. But this is the idea of that direct feedback, right? Where it's right in the email and I'm asking for the online review. And if for some reason they don't want to go there, they could still give me private feedback, but we're not segmenting it. We're not asking the net promoter score question or any of that stuff.
Our experience here is that people are unhappy. So this mode is designed for businesses that have an NPS score of 80 or higher. And what we find is that in experimenting with this mode is that customers are unhappy. We'll give you, most of them, will give you feedback directly and not go to Google. And so the risk of this, even for businesses with lower NPS score, is quite low. A lot of businesses don't have comfort with it. I found that over time, if you've got a business that really has a high NPS score, you can get onto it and feel quite comfortable. And most decent people, which most people are, will give you feedback first. If they're going to be turkeys, they're going to go right out to Google or Facebook, with or without you. So and this email, is phrased that way to allow them to give you feedback directly. And it works well. It doesn't threshold the customer.
Yep. And then this is the review mode example. So this is the mode where
Oh, looks like that one. Somebody must have changed a setting. That one looks like that's direct mode as well.
yeah, this is also direct mode. Yep. Yeah. So you just get the idea, right? Where in this mode, the review sites are directly on there, in the email itself. So yeah, so basically a couple questions that came up. Chris said clap, clap, clap on the copy review button. Yeah, so that's basically once I click through to leave my feedback, the copy review is just right there prominently displayed, so they don't have to type it in again if they go leave you an online review. And then
as a note, that is in the current website view as a variable. So if you want to add it before you move over to this new mode, you can do so.
And then Heather's asking a question related to the thing that I ran into. She says, if I switch modes after sending out a request, will the email links expire on the previous mode emails? And Heather, No, it's not supposed to. I know that's what happened to me. But once you send out a feedback request in a particular mode, then that it preserves the mode throughout because it affects like what the initial email, what's in that initial email. So for example, like what you saw me do where I tried switching, I sent out an email in one mode and then I switched it. What it's supposed to do is keep that mode throughout the flow. So if I, for example, if I created one in ultimate mode, I send out the feedback request, then a day later, before they responded, I changed to direct mode. That original email, that original feedback request, which was ultimate, would go through as ultimate mode, however you had ultimate mode configured. Because it's different all the way from the beginning email. In fact, I just want to show you the real quick how this kind of plays out. Let me go back to I want to go back to Aaron's Auto for this one. And I'm going to show you the modes, and what you can do now is we're trying to outline, so if I'm going to go to ultimate mode, on the right hand side, that whole flow is distinct and separate from the one in review mode, and it's distinct and separate from the one in direct mode. So for example, you're going to change the feedback request. There's different pieces in each of these modes, but they're all separate flows. So if you change something in feedback request here in ultimate mode, it's not going to change the one in review mode. All right, and so you can kind of see the flows like we used to have. We've really remapped it. So here's the feedback request itself. Here's that first email reminder, whether I want it on or off, what the timing is. Here's the second reminder, the feedback landing page, the positive. So I can edit all of these steps, and they're distinct and separate from the other modes. And just to show you what our new editor looks like, if I go into feedback, this is the feedback request itself, here's the email, and then this is what it's going to, we give you a nice visual preview, the ability to send a test to yourself, and our tags work a little differently now. They're a lot easier to do. So I can literally just right click, and these are all the tags. We're going to start calling these hooks because we don't want people to confuse them with the other tags that we have for the testimonials widget. But it's essentially the way to insert something in my email, like my business name or whatever. So these are really nice new editors. We're really excited about them. I think they look a lot, they're just a lot easier to use. They look better. And they're completely visual, which is nice. So my point is that each of these steps is customizable here. Whether it's the email or the page, and then it's distinct from, like when I switch over to review mode, then these can be different, and they need to be, because that first email may or may not have the Net Promoter Score scale in it, so it needs to kind of read a little different, right? And we provide default content for all of these modes, but then you can go in and tweak them as you want. So that's the idea, and so Heather, that's how it works. Obviously I ran into something there in the beta that had a problem, but that's the way that it's designed to work, is to make sure that it respects the initial flow. Kenny's asking, using the direct mode, if the customer is on their mobile phone and does not have a Google account, where does the link take them?
It takes you to a full screen prompt that asks you to sign in to Google to leave a review. And then once you sign in, it still takes you to the review box. So it's a full screen takeover that prompts you to log in.
And John says, in direct mode, can you move the feedback button first and then Google underneath in direct mode?
In beta v.1.2, you will be able to.
That should be, hopefully within the next couple of days, you'll have an option in that template to have a top located feedback button or a bottom located feedback button, depending if you want it on the top or bottom of reviews. John, you've obviously spent some time with Mike. That was a Mike specific request. And so
Mike asked you to say that, didn't he?
I did not. I'm totally innocent here, guys.
I already know who goes to the Church of Mike, and so we will have the things you need in your sanctuary when we get ready to roll this out.
Amen.
We were just going around on that feature over the past couple of days, and we're trying to lock down new features so that we can wrap it up and That Mike won on that one. So, Megezi is asking, do I have it right that review mode and direct mode negate the testimonial widget, specifically direct mode? Well, not exactly. So if I looked at, I'm trying to think the best way to illustrate
So, John,
this.
the change that we're making this week, it will allow you to choose whether the feedback, whether you get testimonial information or not in direct mode. The change we're making this week. Currently, it gives you negative feedback now, but in the change, you will be able to get positive feedback and testimonial for your website as well. That's one of the changes we're making, is so that you can still gather first-party content for your website.
Yep. And it definitely doesn't, it won't negate it, but you're obviously putting review choices in front of that customer at the same time. So instead of in the ultimate path, where you're forcing them to get to the next step, they have to go through that step and provide that. This is giving the consumer a choice instead of the mode selecting it for them. So you will see a reduction in first party, but as Mike points out, in ultimate, you can place that higher, and within review mode, it's still there as well. After they leave the MPS, it then gives them the review sites and says, you can leave a public review here, or if you'd like to leave us direct feedback, here's the button to do that. So you're going to get less than in ultimate mode when it's a required step, but you still will receive first-party feedback.
Yeah, so exactly. It's just the mix is going to change, right? And that's why I wanted to make it easy to switch between these modes, because you might want to focus on first party for a while and then later change the focus. Rob says, much nicer UX. Nice job. Thank you, Rob. We've worked very hard at this. Aaron has been very insistent on what he wants the UI looks like, and that's really helped a lot in the design. And we're just constantly raising the bar on this. Heather is asking, in the email request, the top font was lighter than the bottom font by the feedback button. Can you still change fonts in bold and etc.? In the email request, let me just go check that.
Yeah, so there are some inconsistencies right now that are being worked on that hopefully will be resolved in the next couple of days between font color. So that will not be different. And no, within the editor, what we've really found is more than anything, simple, straightforward, less words, less pizzazz drives more feedback and more engagement from the user. So we're really, with these, focused on getting more results, more customer engagement for you. So that's why we're going with a very clean, straightforward look, less movement of font sizes and colors and things like that. But yeah, there's a few things that our team is still cleaning up.
Yep. These are all the fit and finish things that we're working through right now that are just take time to get right. John says Mike gave him a free pizza. Now we know what the price was.
Lies, all lies.
Kenny is saying, do we send an email to support to say we want to, how do we participate in the beta?
John at GetFiveStars.com.
Yeah, that was one way. Yeah, email to me or Mike or Aaron or
Your best bet is support at GetFiveStars.com.
Yep. Yeah. Email support. They're building a list. It will be just from a few things that are known. It'll probably be a few days until we grant access. So I would say late in the week, beginning of next week, at a minimum. I will say, we'll pretty much let anyone into the beta. We do ask. We have a handful of small questions that we'll ask. So we just ask you to participate in that. That's only going to help make it better as we put that together. And then I did want to share from a couple of the close test we've done so far. So, kind of a few different things, right? You guys are seeing there's a lot of different improvements, some, in the way you build the emails and how easy it is to choose a flow and then edit each step in the flow. That's obviously a win on your side. But what we're seeing from some of the response is really, really encouraging. And one of the first things with that is by moving the NPS up into the initial question on both ultimate and review mode. So instead of, we looked at that give feedback button as kind of a click fatigue thing. It was just one click to state your intent, but it wasn't capturing any data for you. So we're seeing anywhere from 30% to over 100% gain in the amount of people taking part and giving that first step of feedback with it. So that's really, really encouraging that we're seeing more people participate by putting that first question, the NPS question, right in that initial email that's there. So that's one very strong thing. And as we all know, the more people in, the more people starting, it's only going to help with your other results. So even in ultimate mode, with most of my test accounts right now, I'm seeing about double the rate of click-throughs to review sites, just because we're getting, well close to double the amount of people opting in to the feedback process that's there. The next piece to point out with it in something like review mode, where we're just asking for NPS and then asking for a review if it's a positive, or asking for more information if it's a negative, is we are definitely seeing a very large increase in clicks to review sites, and then just monitoring some of the review conversions, we're seeing a very strong rate there. So with that two-step process that's there, you're still capturing NPS, and we're seeing a much higher click-through rate to those third-party sites and conversion with those as well. So
I would point out that one thing, and that is that we can't change human psychology and human behavior. And while we can facilitate the path between your business and a review, the thing that's going to get that customer to finally leave that review is if you ask them personally before you send them this email. And that will create an obligation between them and you that they will live up to. And that is the single most important thing. Everything we do is certainly will make the skids go easier across the terrain, but you in the end have to train your businesses to ask for that. Tell the customer it's coming and ask for it. When we do that, when we see that happening, you see the review yield go way up.
Absolutely. So to Mike's point, our goal was to provide as much of just kind of a straightforward default optimization as possible. So new, cleaner design, less content involved in each step, less reading and more action, moving more actions up to the front and center, and then just allowing you to move between modes depending upon what is most important to your business. At the end of the day, we are all very rooted to, yes, reviews are great. We understand their marketing power and everything else, but listening to your customer is a tried and true successful business metric that everyone needs to do. So we want to make sure we're always providing that. But to Mike's point, those two human optimizations, or two things you need to consider outside of the things we build into our system, is one, mentioning and asking for participation in the feedback and review process. And the second is sending it as close to that transaction moment as you can, right? When you upload a list only once a month or once every other month, and customers have long forgotten about their time with you 10, 15, 20, 40 days ago, you're lessening the chance of them wanting to speak their mind and participate in that process. So good point, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys. So while we're in here, any other questions? A lot of great questions came up about these modes. Do you guys, what do you think? Are there questions that you have in addition to what you've already asked, or are you gonna anxious to use these? I think, from our perspective, we're super fired up about this because of the results we're seeing just early on. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Whenever we change something, it's always like a challenge to, especially changing it like this. Like, we think we're bringing some really significant improvements, but we want to do it in a way that's...
We know we're bringing significant improvements.
Yeah. My point is, we want to do it in a way that's graceful for you guys too, right? So we're trying to keep this legacy mode here so that we can make sure that we don't affect your current flow, but allow you to try these modes, try them out and migrate over to them. And so anyway, that's where we have the best intentions in terms of trying to make this a smooth transition for you. So I'd love to hear anything. I see Tony is saying, I noticed that other similar service providers still provide buttons to review on Yelp. Is there any chance you will bring back the Yelp review button That was our most beneficial review site. Our review numbers and email interaction have dropped significantly since then. Well, here's the thing. You know, anybody who's putting review buttons and soliciting reviews on Yelp is not going to be doing it for very long. Basically, Yelp is very, very determined to shut those sites down. So if somebody's still doing that, I don't know, you know, they're kind of playing with fire. And I think that there are a lot of options other than Yelp. I struggle when people are really, really over-focused on Yelp as a review site because, you know, we've gone through a lot of these things in the past, but most of those reviews are getting filtered anyway, unless you're asking for reviews from active Yelpers. You know, don't miss out on the value of first-party reviews like we talked about, and also just other review sites like Google and Facebook and industry review sites. So I don't understand why I mean, I'd love to understand, Tony, like the industry and everything. I understand the different industries are different, but soliciting Yelp reviews is basically going to be a litigious situation for whoever is doing it.
Here's how we basically look at it, Tony. One, you're putting the business at risk because as Yelp has shown, they will filter reviews, and if they feel like you've been using a tool to filter anything you have there, they could decide to just filter all reviews based on what's there. So first and foremost,
or worse, push that red badge of shame on the listing.
Yes. Yep. Put the red badge of shame and say that they've, you know, not come by these reviews in an honest manner. So number one, we're looking out for that for the end business, whether you run the end business or you're an agency supplying it for the end business. And number two, ourselves as well. We have been privy to them coming after other platforms that allow that in their platform with it. So with that, we're absolutely going to, you know, side on the things that will make this a long-term relationship for both the business and for us. So, you know, not getting into splitting anything on is Yelp valuable and isn't it and whatever else. Like those two things are just clear as day to us, and we are going to side on the part of a healthy long-term relationship with it.
So a little bit of research I've been doing. Two pieces of research I did that I think come to bear on this. One is I had a client with 1,500 customers. And I wrote an article on my blog at blumenthals.com, how to get a Yelp review when all else fails. Yelp allows you to upload an email list and then look to see which of these customers have Yelp accounts and which of those are active. As we know, only active Yelpers get the reviews passed. This business was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and in a hospitality, both hotels and restaurants. Should have been hot Yelp territory, right? Uploaded 1,500 of their customers. Only 100 of them were active Yelp, had Yelp accounts, and of those 100, only 10 were active Yelpers, right? So given the odds in that situation, we think that there's a lot of wasted asking. And so if you go to my blog, look up how to get a Yelp review when all else fails, I think that's an active strategy you can implement in conjunction with GetFiveStars that will continue to yield amongst, you know, but be much more focused. I mean, we just think that, you know, on top of the other issues, we don't want to put anybody's business at risk, but, you know, we see the yield is very low across the country. The other interesting point is that I was analyzing the other day average reviews for any business that was monitoring them, Facebook, Yelp, Google, and TripAdvisor. And what we've seen over the last year is that on average, businesses went from like 3.5 to 5 Google reviews each. People that were monitoring TripAdvisor were going upwards of 4 reviews each during the month. People that were monitoring Facebook, 2 reviews, and on Yelp, 1 review. So again, the yield was much, and a fair bit of this period we were asking for Yelp reviews. But the yield across the industry is shifting away from Yelp. Now, again, in your case, it's really valuable. I'd suggest you target them, you know, figure out the 10 people out of your 1,500 that you can legitimately expect to see a review from and target them outside the system.
And just to build on what Mike just said, I've seen too many, you know, in the past.
You broke up, Ted.
Oh, okay. How about now? Am I clear?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Just one last comment on that. I've just seen too many people that have tried to go out and do Yelp, ask for Yelp reviews on their own, and think about those stats that Mike just shared. You know, how many asks where the customer actually did go through and tried to leave a review, but it was filtered, right? And so if you're asking on a service that doesn't have such aggressive filters, then you have a lot more chance of getting those reviews. So that, you've got these customers that are trying to leave reviews, but they're just never going to see the light of day because they're not an active, avid, in the know sort of, they're not in this special club of Yelpers. So yeah, just it's numbers. Greg's asking, will we be able to edit the footer on the email or landing page to put our agency name or logo in there? So that would mean this.
Yeah, so that isn't something that's editable yet, Greg. It is something that we've talked about. Haven't agreed on it specifically, but we'll definitely keep you up to date for agency resellers.
Yeah, we've talked about it. And then the Powered by GetFiveStars does not appear for white label accounts. But we are talking about the logo. So Heather said, how long will legacy mode be available? That's a great question, Heather. We will eventually move away from it, but we want to do a pretty good job of feeling like we've got everyone, time has gone by and everyone's had a chance to understand what the new modes are and convert over. So we're not going to get rid of it until we've done several sort of cycles through of giving people a timeline. Like right now, I don't have a timeline for it. I don't know exactly, but as we launch and we're monitoring like how many people are using the new modes and moving away from legacy. We'll kind of start focusing specifically on those folks and get them converted over. So you'll have plenty of runway to know, when the change happens. And the changeover is not hard, right? It's literally going through ultimate mode for the smallest case and just importing some of your text over there. It's going to be very straightforward. Only 5 minutes to convert over, but we'll definitely give you some runway for that. Magazi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Can you speak to the social sharing on the testimonial widgets and how to add a graphic to go along with the social sharing? Okay, well, one thing you reminded me of that I forgot to show, and if you don't mind, Magazi, I'm going to show this first, and then I'll answer your question. So he's asking, Magazi's asking about, can you speak to the social sharing? Real quickly, though, in addition to the new request modes menu item, there's a brand and colors screen, and that's how you can affect this logo and the colors. In the past, we had lots of different places to upload this, and what we decided to do is say, let's just make a one page that's brand and colors, and then that'll inform all the landing pages and templates and everything, or just make it simplified the editing for people. And so this again is on the settings menu. It's called brand and colors. Allows you to upload your logo. We give some guidance on the size. Allows you to choose an accent color, and the accent color I'll show you in just a minute, but it affects that top line bar and also the buttons. And then you can optionally upload a banner image. So those are all right here in the branding colors. And if I go back to the request modes and just look at one of the templates, you'll see where those are showing up. So here's this bar along the top is affected by the color choice. Here's the logo, of course. In the landing pages, you'll see the image. So if I go to the positive landing page, you're going to see the image that I uploaded in the brand and color screen. And that gives you the ability to customize and brand the emails. Now, in terms of the social sharing, I think that is in, help me out here, guys. I'm pretty sure it's in the feedback settings where I can choose the image, right?
Testimonials widget done.
Oh, yeah, Testimonials widget. Thanks. So to answer Magazi's question,
Testimonial widget settings. Sorry.
Yeah, when I go into the settings to answer, this is the sharing image, so you can say, and we have some guidelines here because it's not easy. So you can see what we did with this image is we just took that banner image and we added the logo to it. So there's a nice clean image to share that will also look good on Retina displays if you use the right size of image, which is 1024 by 512, ideally. And this will show up on the full width areas on Facebook and Google Plus when you do the share. Twitter It will use the share image when you tweet, but it doesn't show in the share preview. It's kind of a bummer, but we can't affect or change that. And then LinkedIn, they just retrieve an image from your website, and we can't control that. So it won't. They don't accept a preset share image. You can leave this blank, of course. You don't have to have an image in there, but we definitely recommend it. So anyway, that's under the Testimonials widget settings is where you access that. And that's in the product now, so that's already out there. It's not part of the modes beta, it's separate from that. So if that doesn't answer your question, Megezi, then let me know and I'll follow up. Kenny's asking, does the beta function for the same for white label? Are there any additional potential glitches, etc.? So we're back talking about the feedback modes, request modes beta.
As a meta note, there are always potential glitches with software.
True.
So, I mean, you know, this is a beta, and we've worked really hard to clean it up and to find the things, but the reason we're going into beta is so that we can catch those issues. We can revert very easily, and there should be no loss of data, but
we do have white label beta testers, right? So we're definitely testing it. And functionality-wise, yeah, it's very similar to before. Like there's no GetFiveStars branding for white label, and you'll see different templates and things like that. So there's no powered by GetFiveStars messages in there. So it's kind of like how white label works today. It's just that we're automating, or not automating, but allowing you to easily switch between these modes. John is saying, I'm excited about direct mode. All my clients want more Google reviews, not just feedback and NPS. I'm thinking direct mode will help that for clients in my industry. Okay, cool. I think, you know, based on some of our test results, things are looking really good for, you know, again, we always advocate getting a mix of first-party and third-party reviews, but, you know, that's up to you. Greg is saying, sorry if you said this, but when are these changes coming? So, Greg, despite the little user error that you saw, the glitch that you saw me create today during the demo, we're pretty far along with this. We're basically in final testing. We've been testing it already now. I don't have an exact time frame, but it's like we're hoping weeks, right? We're very close. We want to make sure we put it through the paces and that we get really, really tight in terms of quality. So we're going to take as long as that takes, but I feel like it's a matter of weeks, you know, that we could be ready to go live with this. Megezi is saying, please share the link to this article. I missed the blog URL. I think she was
I put it in the chat. I put it in the chat, and I answered the question with it as well. So
thank you. Is there an easy way to get a report on all clients who have listed in their accounts and send them an FYI on this? All clients who have listed in their accounts and send them.
So you're an agency and you have 100 clients. How do you let them know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think if you have a list of some kind, and we can work with you guys, we're going to be publishing some really good content on how to do this. And when we do that, we intentionally leave out branded images. So we should be able to have content that you could use. You know, in our system, we don't have a way to communicate for you because, you know, we've been asked, you know, most of our white label agencies don't want us communicating with our customers directly. So I think you guys, you know, if you've got some email list or a way to communicate with it, we'll work with you on, you know, getting some generic content to explain how the feature works.
Yeah, when we go to roll this out, we'll have blog posts, we'll have help guides, we'll be sending out an email, and you know, always feel free if you're an agency to take that content and then switch, you know, whatever language you need into it. But please, you know, copy and paste and use that as a starting point. Make it your own, and then yeah, share it with your clients via your own channels of blog, social, email.
Yeah, and so when you see our content, by the way, Megezi, you know, make sure if it's not what you're looking for. I mean, we want to provide you with like the right. We want people to understand this change and like how to use it and what the benefits are. So we'll do our best to get you guys good stuff for that. Adam is asking, as a white label partner with over 40 small businesses currently on the platform, I've received a lot of direct feedback from business owners, and I can honestly say that these updates are a home run. Oh, wow, Adam, thank you. Great job continuing to evolve the platform and really focusing on updates that will help the average small business owner better engage with this software, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Totally agree. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you saying that, because we've been working super hard on this for a long time, and I'm excited to get it out there. Richard's asking, can we get a way to use a custom privacy policy? Well, Richard, if you would do this for me, please follow up with through support. The reason I ask is because Josh and Mike and their team, they log all this stuff for us, and like a lot of times I'm traveling around or whatever, and my inbox gets crazy. I'd love it if it was tracked, right? When you send this in and they track everything. Let me know. I need to understand a few more things around that. I think I know what you want, but it's not easy for us to just deal with privacy policies for other companies, but I think you're saying you want to put your own in there. A lot of agencies don't have them, but we'll consider it. I understand, I think, what you want, but I want to make sure. And then Magezi says, correction to my last question, is there an easy way to get a report on all clients who have listed Yelp in their accounts and send them an FYI on this? All clients who have listed Yelp in their accounts. I see. So it sounds like you have you're a reseller, you have some clients that, well, they can't solicit Yelp reviews, but maybe they're monitoring them or something. I'm not sure what you mean listed Yelp in their accounts.
I think what he wants is a list of businesses that are using Yelp on their online review links page so that he can update them about the changes to requested Yelp.
So they're monitoring Yelp reviews.
Yeah, he wants a list of businesses in his account that currently have Yelp set up as an online.
I see.
I believe this is after.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think I have a way to do that directly, but it's a good question. Let me look at that. I'm not sure how we would pull that exactly.
Just curious, when did we stop soliciting Yelp reviews? It's been quite a while.
I think he's asking people who are monitoring Yelp reviews. He wants to know which customers are monitoring Yelp reviews, and then send them a note on. He wants to send them your blog post and say, here's how you could go about it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then Magezi says, you are pronouncing my name perfectly. Well, I was almost certain that I wasn't, so thank you for telling me that. And then also interested in how to join the beta program. Yeah, so to join the beta, if one of you guys can just chat, I would say send an email to support@getfivestars.com and then put feedback modes beta in the subject. And then Josh and Mike and team, they're working on, they're building a list, and then they'll add you to the list, and then as soon as it's ready to go, which will be a few days, as Aaron said, then we'll get you on that beta. I'm glad you're interested, because I think this will be good stuff, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Magezi says, very excited about direct mode, specifically for Google reviews. Yep, perfect. And then Richard says, yeah, he wants to put his own privacy policy out there. So basically a link. So yeah, that's the challenge, Richard, is like, what site does that content live on? Like, is it a link? Is it just a URL you want to go to on your website? If it's content, where does that content live when the customer clicks on it? So those are the things that need to be worked out there. Yeah. Oh, and then I skipped a question. I think Heather said, any changes to SMS text modes? So that's a really good question. So I thank you Heather for asking that, because I totally skipped over that. There was a change to SMS that I wanted to mention, as well as how does that relate to all these feedback modes, right? How does it relate? So here's the thing to remember. The way SMS mode works, if you're sending SMS feedback request, it really contains a link, and that link, depending on which mode you have turned on, will take them into the right entry point. So for example, if I have review mode turned on, I send out SMS feedback request, that link that's in the feedback request will take them into the review mode path, or the direct mode path, or the ultimate mode path, depending on which mode was activated when that feedback request was sent. So all of these modes work with SMS because SMS is just a way to get them in to the process with higher open rates and higher click-throughs. So the other thing I wanted to mention is under SMS settings, we did something where we have a the URL. So we're using a short URL. We're running out of space for something. Excuse me one second. I have to mute one of my colleagues who keeps forgetting to turn his microphone off, who will not be named. The include feedback URL is now a short URL. We were having problems where obviously we know we've got very limited space in here. And if you notice, what the previous URL was just taking up way too much space. And so now we've got a short URL that all fits on one line. It gives you a lot more text for your words and text, room for your text. So that was a problem that many of you were running into, and that's fixed and out in production right now. So that was changed in SMS. So Heather, hopefully that answers your question. If not, let me know. All right, great. So I kind of jumped ahead here. That was mainly everything that I had to show you guys. I appreciate all the great questions and feedback along the way. Anything else that you'd like to see that you're interested in seeing, let us know. We're always open and would love to hear from you guys. Hopefully you know that by now, that we're wide open for those kinds of things. In fact, Greg is saying any plans or progress on allowing for different email templates to different customers. For example, based on what product or service they purchased. So Greg, it sounds like what you're asking for is that maybe I have an email chain, or let's say a request chain set up for someone who buys product A, but I have a product B that I want to send a different set of email, completely different flow to. We have talked about that. One example for our own use is that right now we want to send, we send a feedback request to customers that use our platform. And we wait 30 days before we send that out because we want to give them a chance to actually try things out and actually have a feel for the system before we ask for the feedback, because we want to get meaningful feedback. But we also, our customer success team came in and said, well, we want to send out a feedback request whenever we interact with somebody, right? And say, let's say that they had a support issue, someone contacted us, they needed help. We want to send out a feedback request for this, but it's going to be a different language and different information that and questions that we're asking than the product base, right? Because one is a feedback request. Well, how how do you like our product, right? And the other is how is the service we provided for you? So that is what we're running into. So I can imagine in a lot of other businesses that they want flows like that. So yeah, we're looking at that. I don't have a date to give you for it, but that's definitely something that the way we're addressing it now, by the way, is we just set up a different location. So we set up a different location in our system that we sent that completely different feedback flow. So you can do it with locations now, but we're looking at ways to make it more flexible inside of the product directly. So hopefully that answers your question. Good suggestion. Thank you for that. Yeah, and so that's it. That's all I had for you guys today. We went a little over. I hope that's okay. I saw a lot of people stayed on, so hopefully, I love the questions. So that's always a good thing to to hear from you. And I hope you guys don't mind I kept the webinar going. But I think we're going to wrap it up now as I see the questions kind of winding down. Yeah, so reach out to us to get on the beta. Send an email to support@getfivestars.com. Put feedback modes beta in the subject, and we'll make sure that we get you on that list. Any other suggestions, keep them coming. And until next time, hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Take care.